Chris Andreucci. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Fantastic. Welcome to episode 1 of the podcast.
I know it's been a long time coming. How did this thing start? We
were drinking whiskey and we were thinking, we do this anyway, quite a lot. You know, we drink whiskey, we talk shite, and we just hang out. And we're thinking, we need to make some content for releasing music and just content in general. A podcast would be fun. What could we talk about? So we just went with, let's just drink whiskey and talk shite like we always do anyway and see what happens. And so here we are, episode 1. And I guess the idea for us was that we would drink a different whiskey or eventually the same whiskey if someone wants to sponsor us, and just talk about the music industry, our backgrounds, how we met, where we're from, and hopefully we'll get some cool guests on as well. So we've got all that to look forward to. We've got our first guest, or 2 guests already lined up. Shall we we'll maybe save that for...
Yeah, we'll save that, I think.
We'll save it. But back to that night out. So how did we meet? We met in Tin Roof.
Tin Roof, and that was maybe like 6 months ago or something now.
I'd heard rumours of another Scottish guy in Nashville. And it was actually, I was in Losers one night where you play. And someone heard me talking and they said, "Are you Scottish?" And obviously, usually Americans they can't ever place where you're from. If you've got an accent, you know, I usually get like, "Are you Australian? Are you Irish?" And so this guy was like, "You're Scottish." And I was like, "Oh yeah, how did you get it?" And he goes, "There's another guy called Chris that plays here. He's Scottish. You should get in touch with him. He's a cool guy." And I was like, "Oh, what? Just because we're both Scottish, we'll be friends?" Or like immediately. So I was like, "Whatever. That sounds cool." I was just visiting for a week, so I think I'd added you on Instagram, and then I was in Tin Roof about 4 or 5 months later once I'd moved here, and someone walked past me when I was taking a piss in the bathroom, and I just turned around and I was like, "All right, mate." And you said, "All right, mate," back, and I was like, "Hang on a seckie, that's not an American accent there." So I got out, went to the bar, and I think you walked past again, and I was like, "I think that's the guy that I followed on Instagram from months ago but didn't ever meet up with." And I came up to you and I was like, "All right, pal, you from Scotland?" And you were like, "Yes."
No, I know that was that was an interesting night. I was going through a wee, let's just say a challenge in my life at that time, and I just wanted to go out for a cold beer. I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday night or something. I just wanted to go out and have a couple of beers alone and figure out what was going on, not talk to anybody. I didn't plan on talking to anybody, and then I hear this, "What's up, pal?" or "How you doing, mate?" And I was like, he's Scottish. And then before I knew it, we kind of started chit-chatting, and you know, we realised that I think you were planning on moving here, or you just moved here?
I'd just moved, yeah. That was the first time I'd ever gone to a writer's round, was that night. And I thought it was great. I was like, you can go into any bar here and there's, you know, great songwriters singing in Nashville every night. So I was already on a high. And usually I'm not really the kind of guy to go up to people in bars, you know, especially, you know, entertainers, or like, I never go up and speak to celebrities if I see them or anything. But I was like, I've just moved here, just moved to Midtown. I've not really met many people yet. You know, I've been there 3 days or something like that. So I was like, right, I'll take a shot in the dark here, and we'll introduce ourselves. And I might get turned down here. You know, this might be like shooting your shot with a girl at the bar, and them just turning around and going, "Nah, I've got a boyfriend." You could have turned around and went, "I've got enough pals, beat it."
I've already got a Scottish pal. No, but I'm glad you came up and said hey. I mean, that was, as I said, that was maybe 6 months ago or something now, and it's been an interesting journey for the Scots out here. You know, we've you know, you're into acting, and then you kind of, when you came here, you'd always done a little bit of music like myself. I've done music for about 14 years now, but you know, when you told me a little bit about your acting, and I was so intrigued by it, and when you said you wanted to do music, or you wanted to get back into doing it, I was like, you know, I'd love to write with someone that kind of had the same upbringing as me, you know, from Scotland, and you know, I love country music, and you love country music, and before we knew it, we're writing songs and, you know, releasing songs that we're writing for each other, and getting cuts with other artists. So for me, it's been a pretty cool 6 months. It's been a few drunken nights along the way, but I wouldn't change it. And here we are in episode 1. So I'm excited to see what the other 6 months of the year bring.
I know, hopefully plenty of episodes of the podcast. But yeah, for me, I was just looking for pals. You know, I thought maybe I don't know, just being from Scotland, maybe you played soccer or something like that. But
you say soccer there?
Yeah, sorry. For everyone listening back home in the UK, I've sold out 100%. I've completely sold out, and football is an egg-shaped ball that you throw these days.
He's got his cowboy boots tucked into his jeans there, and you should see he's wearing shorts, cut-off shorts.
But yeah, so I obviously knew you played covers in Losers. That was all I knew. But then I listened to some of your music, and I was just starting with the writing process. I'd played some covers before, and obviously I did covers of songs, but produced on Monarch. So I had this little bit of background. I did a bit of theatre as well, and but I really just wanted to start writing. So when I heard some of your music, I looked you up on Spotify and everything. I was like, all right, he's pretty good. And I was like, here we go. He's already agreed to be my friend, but will he agree to write with me? And we rocked up. It was this apartment. It was probably... It can't have been long after we met, but we just got right to it. Yeah, we just got right to it. And we wrote a bit of a banger, which I'm cutting now as well, which is great.
I know, that's exciting. I remember I think I came in with the idea, and then I saw it in a different way, and then you were like, "No, you should write it like this," and we did. And I appreciate you cutting that. I'm as I said, I play a lot. I play at Losers, and I'm trying to really focus more on the songwriting side of things as I'm saying slowly getting older. I'm still a youngin' compared to you, Callum. But yeah, for people that don't understand Nashville, there's like Broadway, which is your kind of tourist area, and it's good fun, right? You go down there, you have a few beers, maybe 3 or 4 too many, and you get to see all your bachelorette or hen do's, whatever you want to call them, and then it's good fun, and you've got all the big bars, Kid Rock's, Alan Jackson's, Blake Shelton's, but as you know yourself, the novelty of that kind of wears off pretty quickly. And as a songwriter who is aspiring to get a number 1 or, top 10 or get, maybe your own artist career off the ground, that's not the place you're going to make it. And it's quite a trap for a lot of artists and songwriters down there. So we all live in Midtown. So for people that haven't been to Nashville, there's the Broadway side, then there's the Midtown side, which is kind of more the locals. And that's where you and I met in Tin Roof Midtown, and there's all the writers' rounds where you trial out new stuff and your original songs. But obviously in Midtown there's kind of touristy bars now as well, so I play at one of the touristy bars, Losers, and I play there about 4 or 5 nights a week, and it's a great time. It's a bar that's been there for about 25 years, I think. It's been there for a while anyway, and it was the first place in Nashville that ever actually came in and was like, man, I'd love to play here one day. And when was the first time you went into Losers?
That was the first bar I went to in Nashville as well.
Oh, wow.
So that was the night that they still had the outside open. So for, again, those that are listening that are not from Nashville, they had a big gig in the parking lot, and the whole outside terrace collapsed. And so they had to close it for months, but I got in right before that all happened. Luckily, it wasn't on the same night, or I might not be here today.
Or you walked in and caused it? Was that before you went to the gym again?
I tried to sing and the whole place just collapsed, so I don't know what happened. But, that place is iconic for Nashville. And the first place I went ever, and I was just blown away by the standard of the people that were singing there. And I have no idea why they let you play, but I get.
I know. I'll be honest. That's why every time you come in, I try and get you up there because I feel like I don't deserve it, But it's been really good to me, and I'm very grateful for that job. And there's some cool perks. I went down to Belize for 2 weeks just there, and all expenses paid to live in a beach house and play music for 2 weeks. A bit of sun, plenty of drinks, and just having a good time. And I go to Vegas a lot with them to their other venues. So. Yeah, as much as it's a pretty hard grind, I really enjoy it. So, but looking back when I very first came to America, I never thought I'd be doing that. But when was it?
Sorry, go on.
So when was the first time you came to America?
I came in 2012 when I was 17, and I was a bit lost on what to do with life. So I just got one of those like summer camp jobs for the 3 months of summer. I was teaching kids sports, and that was just outside Austin. So that's when I first got into country music. I played the guitar before that, but it was all kind of, I was, I think, 17 at the time. And before that, I'd played like Fall Out Boy and Green Day, and it was all power chords, and it was the teenage dream. But
was your hair a bit longer?
No. No, I didn't fit the mold at all. I was like this 17-year-old rugby kid that just loved emo shit. But I found country. The cool thing about like the progression into finding country music is that with with rock music or pop music, with whatever you played before, the progressions are all quite similar. And so I started playing country music. First fell in love with like the Zac Brown band and some of the old Texas country and all those Spotify playlists from back in the day with like even Trace Adkins, who I ended up working with, which is mental. But yeah, so I came in 2012, I think it was, and then worked that summer camp job. Loved it. Came back, I think a year later, did the same job again, and then this time I traveled all around America, and I actually didn't hit Nashville on that tour, but I really fell in love with Austin. So I'd started acting maybe a couple of years after that. So I was in London, and I was splitting my time between Austin and London. And every time I was in Austin, I was like, I just wish that there was an acting industry here so that I didn't have to go back to London. Not that I dislike London, but London was like great for the grind. You wake up every morning, you get on the tube with all the workers, and you're doing 3 auditions a day. And, I was doing some really, really low paid theatre stuff, but it was all part of like the journey. And then I'd come out to Austin, it was just like work in a bar, play some music, and it was just summer for 10 months. So I fell in love with Austin, ended up moving there full time, and I only really went back for acting jobs. And then I did a job called Monarch in Georgia, and I liked Atlanta, still didn't love it as much as Austin, but all the people that were doing the music on the show were from Nashville because it was a country music show. And I was like, there's got to be, I love country music. That was a dream acting role for me. And I was like, I love country music. There must be something about Nashville. If all the producers, all the studio musicians, all the live band guys, everyone was from Nashville. So I came up one weekend and I was like, I've got to move here. I've got to get it to Nashville. So finished off that job, and then I had to go across to London for a job for 2 months in the summer. And as soon as that finished, I moved to Nashville. And I was like, I'm just going to write music and sing. And I mean, it felt like a vacation the first few times I came. So for the first month, I was getting smashed every night because it was like, I'm on holiday. And then I realized I actually live here now. So I should probably put the head down a little bit, which hasn't totally happened, but we're working on it.
It's a work in progress.
How when you came across to America, were you already involved in music? Had you done some music back home, or did you find it over here?
So, sorry. I played music pretty much ever since I was about 12 or 13. I've been in the industry for quite a while. Whether it was good or not, I don't know back then. But me and my cousin actually co-wrote our first song just after my auntie died when I was 11 or 12, and I never really understood what it was. And then I played in a bunch of bands through high school, and I'd always been musical, but I just always saw it as like a hobby. And I went to university and did a marketing, international business and marketing degree in Glasgow, and part of my third year was to go abroad to study. So when I was in high school, I started playing live in Glasgow, loved the city, great music scene. And then when I came abroad, I came to North Carolina, and it's, in the south, pretty country. I'd always liked country music. I grew up listening to a kind of good variety of music. Bruce Springsteen's up there with me and my dad's favorite artists of all time, Willie Nelson, Hank Williams, all that kind of stuff. We listened to everything, David Bowie, etc. So there wasn't really a fixed genre, but I listened to everything. And when I got out to North Carolina, I just kind of fell in love with this kind of southern way of life, which I had never experienced before. Everyone was quite accommodative. I don't know if that's just because they kind of like the Scottish charm a little bit. That is a thing. For sure. I mean, the South is so polite, and it's all about welcoming people in, and it's very old school, polite, traditional values of like be good to your neighbor and give people help when they need. You could be hitchhiking anywhere down south, someone's going to pull over and help you, but they definitely like your accent as well. It doesn't help. It certainly helps. Sorry, it doesn't hurt. I know, but totally, I agree with you there. So I just kind of fell in love with that, and I certainly had a good time. I didn't find my university experience in America too difficult, so I made sure to have a bit of a party here and there. But after that, I went back and finished university, and I got a kind of a job or a summer. It was an internship, sorry, in Canton, Georgia, and it was only 2.5 hours from Nashville. And I kept playing music right through there, back in Scotland, and I played some gigs in America when I was here and there. But it was 2.5 hours from Nashville, and it was a pretty small town in Georgia. There was nothing really to do. Everything closed at 10 o'clock, even on a Friday and Saturday. I was a 20-year-old guy, like, from Scotland. I like to party.
Fake ID.
Of course, look at me. But and I drove up to Nashville every other weekend and started playing writers' rounds. And I remember the first time I ever played, it was at Alley Taps, just on Printer's Alley. And I remember I was shitting myself. Like, I was like shaking, and I thought this was going to be what Nashville kind of was known for, was like all the A&R guys, the heads of the labels or publishers were going to be there. Turns out there was maybe only like 20 people in the bar. But, that was such an amazing feeling that first time. And I kind of got a fix for it. And I signed a publishing deal with Century Music Group at the time, just shortly after that. And, I got to come out and record like a 6-song album and write songs, and it was an amazing experience. And I was kind of talking to my dad and on the flight back over from recording when we came out here, and he was like, do you think you could make a living out of doing this? And I said, man, I don't really know yet, but I fucking want to give it a try, And just as I started to do that and think about it, I finished university, and then COVID hit. So my plans of like coming out here and really working full time on it kind of got shelved, and it was kind of a difficult time because music, that whole industry, the whole hospitality industry and everything was fucked because we couldn't make money. So I remember my mom was like, man, you've probably made the wrong choice here in your career, because I was at home making no money. I was playing some live shows on Facebook, but yeah, eventually everything opened back up, and I tell you what, it's been one of the best decisions in my life. I've been here for just about 2 years now, and I've got a pretty cool life, and I'm pretty happy out here. So it's been a journey, but it's been a good time for sure.
That's awesome, man. Do you think because if I didn't hang out with you, or if I didn't know you, if I only followed you on Instagram from maybe Scotland or anywhere else in America, it looks like you're living the dream. You're playing live every night. You've got a Friday night, sometimes 300 or 400 people in Losers screaming for you for the next song, or asking for requests and sending you tips and putting tips in the jar and stuff like that.
You say tits or tips?
Well, both probably.
I've seen a few in my time.
They're usually guys though. That's me in front of the stage going, woo.
I know you look familiar when you walked in Tin Roof.
I've seen that I've seen those nipples before. But have you found anything hard about, now that you are a full-time, you earn money in publishing and you earn money in live music, people are cutting your music, you're about to start earning money monthly through streams and stuff like that. That sounds like the fucking dream. But is there anything you've found specifically hard about living that life that people might not see on social media? Or
Totally. I mean, being from Scotland, you and I, we were kind of brought up, it's just the culture is we drink from quite a young age, and we enjoy to party. And well, I always have anyway, and I think that's why we get along. We enjoy the good things in life. But this industry, especially Nashville, what they say, it's a drinking town with a music problem, and it's pretty damn true. Like, if I've seen people in my short 2 years who are, I would say, probably way more talented than me, crash and burn because they can't control the party. The thing is with Nashville, you could go out every single night for however long you can last and do something every night because there's something going on. My whole first year, I mean, I spoke to my dad recently about this. I kind of opened up about it. I was like, I didn't have much to show after my first year. I made a hell of a lot of money, but like, I burned a lot of it, partying, networking. And I definitely came near to thinking, God, I don't know if I can do this. There's like a real hard time, and you're drinking all the time. You're staying out to 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. But I tell you what, I'll be brutally honest. That was the most productive. I know people are going to be like, no chance, but that was the most productive and most efficient investment of $35,000-$40,000 I probably will ever do into my music career.
yeah,
Since you've been here, what have you found?
exact same thing. you meet so many people out and about, like Red Door, for example, which is a kind of divey bar with red neon lights, and it's called Red Door Saloon, and a lot of people go there from people that work in the area to all the musicians. It's always like when you go to a round or you go to a gig, everyone goes to Red Door afterwards, so it doesn't actually get busy until like 10, 11 o'clock, and it stays packed until 2 in the morning. And when I first got here, I got introduced to Red Door. Actually, I think it was the first time I went might have been with you. And
sorry,
you ruined my life. you ruined it for me. But in a way, it was the perfect introduction, because we got in there, we got hammered, and I was spending 3-4 nights a week in there, drinking tequila and whiskey and, beer in your hand at all times, plus shooting. And, it was really, really, I had some really heavy mornings, with the hangover afterwards. But like you said, I've met some of the best people and some of my, now best friends, and some really great industry people just going out and being social. I think if you can get a handle on it, like we have, we're like boring old men now. We're like, right, I'm home by midnight latest, and I don't do shots during the week and stuff like that. It's just like these little things. I mean, apart from this doesn't count because it's not going down in one, but
on camera, wait till we're off.
Wait till
So this is a Wednesday night, by the way, just to let everyone know.
Wednesday night, but yeah, that's been my biggest challenge. I think the fun can take over, and I can see how people can lose 20-30 years of their life like that just because they get caught up in this whirlwind of the enjoyment factor of it. And I think in order to enjoy it, you kind of have to pull yourself away at times. I'm quite lucky with that because I can get away and do acting jobs and stuff like that. Like I just booked one, can't say what it is on camera, but you know what it is. And little things like that mean, for the next month, I'm just going to be working out and learning scripts, and then I go away for, I think it's 6 weeks or something like that to go film. And that's very helpful for me. I know that not everyone gets to do that, but I think if you can kind of force that into your life sometimes, just, all right, I've been out and I've been writing, I've been playing rounds, I've been drinking every night. Now for the next month, I'm going to cut my songs, be in the gym, kind of lead that kind of healthy lifestyle. And for longevity, I've only been here for 6-7 months, but I can imagine that that's going to be super helpful.
Totally. I think a little bit of structure in a kind of creative job is essential. A lot of people kind of frown upon the jobs you and I do. When people back home or whatever, they're like, "Oh, how's the songwriting going, son?" It's like really like kind of condescending. I'm like, you don't have a clue how hard I work, how much money I make. I don't care how much money I make, but it's pretty damn good, right? And it's the same, I'm sure, with the acting thing. People like, don't see the hours that you're putting in. They don't see the emotional stress that goes through that, and the difficulty it must be. And that's kind of one thing that it took a while for my dad's always been massively into, like, he's like, I want you to just do something that you love. And my mum, I love my mother to bits, and she's my woman, apart from my girlfriend, but she's my woman. I call her every day and we catch up and make sure we talk. But it took her a while to get that kind of understanding that, oh my God, my son's not going to go and do that 9-to-5 sales job in aerospace that I was kind of set up to do. And I kind of always planned on doing. But now that she came out to Nashville and saw it and gets it, she's like, wow. She's on the phone. She talked to me today. She's like, oh, so how are you getting on? I said, oh, I've actually just got a new cut coming out. And she's like, that's great. She's like, what one's that? And she's like, who did you write it with? And she's got a kind of passion for it now. And I think that's been really rewarding for me to see, because at times I've been putting in hard work and been like, fuck, no one really gets it. But what have you found that in terms of like your family or your friends back home, or even people here?
Similar kind of vibe. When I said I dropped out of a few things. I dropped out of high school early to go play rugby full time. Did that for about a year, and then I went to the States because that didn't work out. So then I got back, and after a couple of years, I went to college to study accounting and finance. That was all right. I was doing pretty well in the course, but I did an internship at a law firm in the finance department, and I was just, with no disrespect to people that work in those fields, because they're super important fields, just with my undiagnosed ADHD and my thirst for, some kind of adventure at all times. I just couldn't see myself working there for the next 40 years. So
Totally.
I almost broke down, and I'm not a super. I'll cry at a good movie or like a great song, but it'll be like a little tear in the. It's not like I've never really wept or anything, but I was close to like breaking down and saying to my mum, like, it just seemed such like a stupid thing to say. I'm gonna go do acting and music, and I feel like I need to go to London because I felt like I couldn't do it in Musselburgh, where I'm from. Again, love Musselburgh. It's some of the best people that I've ever met in my life. I've known from Musselburgh and known since I was a kid. But there's no, there's little theatre things and stuff like that. There was nothing like London, which is kind of like our LA. So I was like, spoke to my mum and she said, you know what, if that's what you want to do, go do it. And I don't even know if she would remember that conversation, but that was a really important moment for me when she said, if that's what you want to do, go do it. Don't get me wrong, she was clearly like, good luck, pal. I don't know if she thought it was going to work out, because no one from Musselburgh had done that, and she's from a wee town in the borders of Scotland, which is kind of like the country in Scotland, the countryside in Scotland. No one from her town had done that either. We just know some famous people that are from other parts of Scotland. We don't really see a lot of creative or entertainment industry people from where we're from. So I went down to London, luckily booked a job in like the first week, which is the best and worst thing to happen, because it was great that I knew that this is worth it. And it wasn't very well paid at all. I had to work in a restaurant at the same time. And so I was working in a restaurant during the day, doing the show at night. But it was the worst thing, because I knew that if I could book one job, I was in, I was hooked, and that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And that one was on stage, playing the lead singer of a rock band, singing live every night. So I was like, this is great, because I'm doing acting and music at the same time. And it wasn't until, though, I booked a job, UK listeners will know Hollyoaks, but national TV show, it gets about 1 million viewers per night, or 5 million a week, or whatever it is. And I'd done bigger shows in the past, but it wasn't until I'd done that even my parents, who were still supportive when I was trying to work this all out, they were like, shit, he might actually be doing it. This might actually work out for the little bastard. And I was just like, I fucking knew I could do it. It's that feeling. And I've booked bigger jobs since then, but the feeling of like getting on that national TV show was just like, it takes you back to that moment where you say, Mama, I want to be an actor and I want to drop out of university. And you can see the doubt in her eyes, but she wants to be supportive. And I guess we're just lucky to have parents that at least let us take the risk, or allowed us to go try it, and that they were always going to be there if it failed. But thankfully it didn't fail. So to wrap that up, I was doing pretty well in acting at this time last year, filming Monarch, and then I booked this huge pilot, which actually didn't go to series, but paid me a stupid amount of money. I'd never seen that kind of money in my life, and I told my parents, and they were just like, "Oh my word, like this is getting out of hand." And then that didn't go ahead, so I said, "Right, I've kind of got my foot in the door with the acting stuff. Now I want to go back and do a bit more of the music stuff." And by that point, they were like, "You know what? It sounds crazy, but we said that the acting thing was crazy, so fucking go for it, pal." Because and now they're biggest fans. They're my biggest fans. So it's been a cool journey, but it was something that, I don't know, not to sound too inspirational, but I think it's so typical for you to think that other people should support you, or when you start things that, like, I can't believe no one would support me. I think it's just like, people either don't support you or they just want you to be safe. And so my parents just wanted me to be safe, and you're the only one that can take the plunge and go for it. So I've been quite lucky that it's worked out so far, and we're just now on this next journey. I've got a song coming out, Tequila Therapy. I can't fucking wait.
It's a great song, by the way.
Thanks, man. We've played it on stage a couple of times, and it's getting some good traction online. So yeah, hopefully that's just like the next chapter, and I can kind of do the acting and music together. But
I think that's really cool, and I think, as you said, that kind of way of like the fact that you maybe have to kind of prove yourself a little bit at the start. That's a drive that I think being in the creative industry you're always going to have, because you might have proved yourself to yourself or your family or your friends or to a certain level, but you're constantly trying to beat that level and get to the next stage. And I think for me, you know, now that I've been here for a little while, I'm just like, hell yeah, I'm just ready to like push on to like a crazy level and just keep doing what I love. And, you know, having my songwriting starting to get published more and more now, you know, you've got your new song coming out. I've got another 2 on your record, or your couple of more singles you're putting out, and you know, I'm very grateful for that. But that's just come with me, I feel like, hard work and networking and really getting my head down and making it happen. So, you know, I think yeah, I've got to a stage in my career where I'm feeling good about things, but I'm sure as hell nowhere near where I want to be. And I think that's why you and I vibe so much, because, like, you know, you've got me going back to the gym again and stuff, and I really appreciate that, because I'm a lazy bastard sometimes it comes to that. I never used to be, but I've got there. But that, and I think, you know, being kind of, okay, we've done well, but let's go skyrocket to the next place. And, you know, that's it's always good to kind of surround yourself with people on a high vibration, and I'm very appreciative of the people that I've met out here and surrounded myself with. So, do you have
any advice for either a writer or an artist, as in, like, if they're starting out or if they're kind of at the stage that you're at, like, you know, what kind of apps they can use, or like where they should be in the world, or what direction they should go in, or who they should speak to, or, you know, maybe there's someone who's listening, hopefully, which would be cool, and they just want to start. You know, what would you say for an independent artist that doesn't know anyone in the music industry today?
Yeah, it's a good question. I get asked that every now and then, you know, if I do an interview on a Zoom call or whatever for some people. But it's hard, because I get it. Not everyone can take the plunge and come over to Nashville. You know, I was very fortunate that I'd already had some experience in America. I'd met some people, and, you know, it was the right thing at the right time for me. I didn't have any responsibilities to tie me back, and I managed to make it happen. Of course, I would recommend coming to Nashville, but you've got to be pretty ready for it. You know, coming here just before COVID hit, I was so pissed off that COVID happened and I didn't get there, you know, the year before. But I'm so glad it happened, because I would have been so naive. You know, I didn't really know what to expect, and I'm so glad it gave me all this time to figure out exactly who I wanted to be, the artist I wanted to sound like, how did I want to present myself, you know, and figure out, okay, I've heard these are the kind of places I need to go and hang out. But my piece of advice would be, you know, whether you're in Scotland, whether you're in, I don't know, Minnesota or something, you know, like, I don't care where you're at. You know, the internet's so powerful now. Get on there, work your ass off every day. You know, I know almost everyone here has got another job, or they're full-time music working harder than people with 2-3 jobs, you know. And I think you've got to treat it like it's do or die. You know, it's like you've got to wake up, grind, you know, work your ass off, and, you know, just believe in it. If you don't believe it in yourself, no one's going to believe in it. And have just a presence of being grateful for where you're at, know where you want to go, and have a kind of social awareness of just be cool. Like, I think that's a big thing that's helped me and you is, you know, that was the first piece of advice I ever got moving to Nashville was just be a good hang. And I remember, that's always stuck with me. And I was like, people just want to work with and hang out with people that are good people, you know. And you know, of course, you get people that are, you know, trying to be a little bit too much that way, and it comes off as force. But, you know, soon you find your kind of groove. And I think for me, it's just work as hard as you can, and you know, if you get the chance to make the plunge and do it full time, do it. And to be honest, you know, if anyone ever wants to contact you or I about coming to Nashville, or get any questions, and just holler at us for sure. We'd love to help you out.
100%, yeah. And I think, yeah, solid advice. I think you're right. I think to break it down, your network, just go out and meet people. So find a gig or find like an open mic and just talk to the guy that puts it on. Ask him how you can get in there, or ask him who you should speak to, or if you see someone that you like their music on stage, ask them if you can write with them, and just chuck. I mean, that's kind of the reason that we're doing this podcast, is just chuck things online. Just, it's all about content these days, it seems, to the point where we know a lot of people who are with record labels who the labels are asking them to almost do all the online work now. to build their audience. So at this point, you kind of don't need the label. Just you can be, like you said, in your home in Ayr with a phone, and you could do covers. You could write your own music and record yourself and put that on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and stuff like that. And it's just about putting in the work and throwing it online and then finding some local shit. But like you said, if you can move to Nashville or LA or New York or London or even Glasgow or Edinburgh, where there is stuff happening every night, because it's a little bit harder when you're in, I don't know, the northwest coast of Scotland, and there's absolutely, there's one open mic a month at a local pub with 3 old guys there that don't even know what music is.
The Chookters are out.
Yeah, the Chookters. They're like, when's the chanter coming out? So it's, yeah, I agree. Networking is so big, and it's such a wanky word because it sounds like you're just going out to meet people and use them. But I think the way that we've kind of found success with networking is not to think that you can get something from someone. Just go out and be present and ask questions and, ask what you can do for them as opposed to what they can do for you type thing. And
totally. It's a transactional industry, what we've got here. And, if you really sat down and thought about it, at the end of the day, we're all benefiting from each other's networks and connections and careers, we're helping each other out in mutual way. It benefits, access to different things. And, if you think about it too much, it's going to be a weird relationship. But for me, if I can have friendships first and then have, cool things happening and opportunities because of that, then that's what I consider a true friend. And, we've managed to surround ourselves with people that are like that. But kind of back to like people want to come out here and get to places and maybe come to Nashville. What would you say as a young or a Scotsman in their 20s? What's the kind of differences between growing up in Scotland and kind of being here now? And, what are your experiences maybe back home that have kind of shaped you as a man?
Oh my God, where do I start? Scotland's just so different to the US all round. We all do we all play sports. Like when I was younger, I just played football, soccer every day after school. Just drop the school backpack and go out and play for until it was dark or until I had something else to do. And when I'm sure that was the same a few years ago here, but now it just seems like everyone's got. Worldwide, everyone's got iPads and stuff like that, but there doesn't seem to be as many kind of communal neighborhood playgrounds and you don't see as many just random soccer fields and stuff like that. So I think just being around people, and it's we got by giving each other a hard time. Even though you're playing soccer, all you're doing is chatting shit to each other all the time. So I think one of the biggest differences that I found when I got here is that no one really makes fun of you. If you say, if you say something out of line, they'll either laugh or they'll just. In Scotland, you get roasted. You get absolutely you go home mortified that you've said something.
Well, here you do. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying back in Scotland because they don't let you get away with it. If you say something embarrassing, you get roasted for the next 3 weeks. So that's one of the big ones. We just grew up roasting each other, I guess. And then, we grew up drinking, which is not something to brag about, but it does kind of help you a little bit later in life when you have to hold yourself and be maybe at an event where you have to have a couple of drinks and you can still hold it together and you're not falling all over the place, and that's definitely helpful. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Big differences between growing up there and being here?
I think that's you've kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think I remember the first time I ever went to a nightclub or a bar here when I was in North Carolina, and it was called Arizona Pete's, and it was in Greensboro, North Carolina, and it was a big old barn shed. And I walked in, I was like, this is weird. I didn't know what to expect. But just the interactions that women and guys and girls had, I was like, wait, all the girls are coming up and talking to the guys straight off the bat. And I was like, I've never experienced that. I never really had an issue talking to women back when I was growing up or anything. But it wasn't really the kind of cultural thing to do back home. We were always expected to kind of, be the first one to make the move. And sometimes I remember when it first happened in America that a girl spoke to me, I was like, she just I don't know, she made me feel a bit uncomfortable and it was intimidating. But now that I kind of kind of grasp that. You know, I kind of like it. You know, I more than ever, I've got a lot of female friends now. I kind of had only a few growing up, but I think there's a lot more of a kind of less awkwardness between male and female, and I think that's really cool, and I think it's really healthy. Like I've probably got so much more level-headed in terms of just like because of the friends I've made and the male and female vibe. But kind of going back to growing up in Scotland, what's your kind of, you get any funny stories for us? I like to laugh after a couple of whiskies. I get silly.
I had some, some horrible moments, just some embarrassing moments. To think of, I'm trying to think of one. Have you got one off the top of your head?
Well, if we're talking about drinking, I've got a few. But so I was a pretty decent student at school. I got to university. I had an unconditional. So my last year at high school, like I was already going to university. So like I don't know, I like to have a good time. So I was fine. I was a good student. But when I was trying to get the grades to get to university, I know I struggled a little bit with my physics, and my mum was like, you know, me and your dad have thought about it. You know, I know you're really trying to get to university and this would help you get there. Would you like a tutor? So I said, you know, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe Monday night, Wednesday night, you know, that they'll come to the house and we'll have the tutor session. My mother, lovely woman, Fiona, lovely woman. She books him for 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. And I was, 15, 16 at the time. And that's at the time in Scotland where you've kind of had your little dabble, maybe last year when you're early 15s, you're stealing some beers and going down the woods drinking or whatever. And it got to that kind of the next level where maybe you were getting somebody's older brother to buy you a drink or whatever. So we went to a party. I don't even think it was that crazy of a night. I really don't remember it being that bad. But I remember waking up the next day and I was a little bit hungover and I went downstairs 9:30, 30 minutes before the tutor comes, and I wasn't really feeling that water, you know, dry mouth. And I saw whole milk in the fridge, the blue milk, and I was like, So I poured a whole big pint glass of it and chinned it, and I was like, that was great. Bite to eat. Jumped in the shower, came back down. The tutor's there, so we're talking away. Long story short, we're doing an exercise, and I'm sat here, and he's sat like just to the right of me, and he's talking to me, and we're kind of working through some exercises, and all of a sudden I'm like, and I'm going, shit. And I was like, I'll hold it in, you know what? Your mouth starts to sweat, you know, salivate.
He's going, so is it a convector or a...
I know.
Is the answer A, B, C or D, Chris? We've been over this and you're going...
And it happened like a few more times, and eventually I just had to get up and I went, you're going to have to excuse me. So I managed to get out we were in the kitchen table. I managed to get out and bomb it up the stairs, and our stairs took up and then took a left. There was a little landing area. Let's just say I redecorated the wall. Holy shit. It was like fucking Shamu the whale. Like, I mean, that was probably a horrible sound through the microphone, but you could have heard it. There was so much of it coming up, just vomit. And I just remember, I remember I opened my eyes and I was like, oh my God. And I get to the top of the stairs and my mum comes out and she's like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I'm trying to say sorry.
You're still throwing up.
I'm going, and it kept coming all up the walls and shit. And it was really bad. Anyway, I've actually not told many people this, so you all know. But I remember my dad had like a little brush and pan. He was like trying to scrape the long. We're not going to discuss everyone, but she's like, you better get fucking back down there. So the guy sat there while this whole ordeal was going on, and I get back down and I sit down. It was so obvious it was because I was drinking, and the guy was like, the tutor was like, rough night. And I just turned around, I've not been feeling too good recently.
Aye, nay bother.
As I'm reeking of like Glen's vodka or like Mad Dog 2020.
Glen's vodka and Iron Brew probably.
Horrible stuff. But that was probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my childhood. And probably one of the moments that my parents have still really never forgiven me for. But
nah, they'll bring it up every Christmas from now on.
What about you? You thought of anything?
Oh God. I mean, talking about hangovers, there was a night that I got lifted. I was so silly. I was we used to do this dumb thing. We used to get a liter of vodka, and we used to get 3 1-liter bottles of like off-brand Red Bull, and we used to pour half of the Red Bull out, and then split the third of vodka, or a third of the liter of vodka between the 3, and then we used to spin and drink it at the same time. So like, because we thought that would get us more drunk, so we'd be standing.
I can picture you doing that now. Should we do it after this?
We should. We'll get one of these whiskies in there. We go. Me and my buddies spin drink vodka. I don't know what it was. We done this every weekend for weeks and weeks when I think we were about 15 or something as well. The same amount, the same drink. Every other week had been fine. It was just like, oh, we're trying to make out with girls, or we're like, wrestling each other, or like, just having a laugh and being outside with a bunch of other 15-year-old idiots. And for some reason, it hit me differently that day. Anyway, we were walking down the street, and this girl was holding my hand, and the police were driving by. We just looked like 4 people walking down the street. There was absolutely no reason for it, but the girl, there was some bushes next to us. She dragged us both into the bush, and the police obviously turned around because they're like, why are they trying to hide from us? And then I looked up, and my 2 mates that were in front of me that had also downed the vodka had taken off down the street. Cheers, boys. So I'm belting it after them, but I'm also holding the hand of this fucking girl that
She fucked it all up for you.
She got their attention in the first place. So anyway, I see my friends go that way, so I'm like, right, maybe if I go the other way, they'll go after them because they're sticking to the road. So we cut down this little venal, and there's like a gap in the trees with a kind of dirt path, and we come through the dirt path to the rugby club, actually, where I grew up playing. And as we got to the other side of the dirt path, we stepped on the grass, completely frozen, and both slipped on our arses. And we're like, I woke up and there's just a bright light in my face.
Oh, no.
And it's like PC Dougie, the school community officer. He was like, what are you doing? Why are you running away from us? And I was like, oh, what, am I not allowed to run these days?
You were a cheeky shite, weren't you?
He goes, you've been drinking. And I was like, what? No. And anyway, so he goes, right, you're coming with us. Let the girl go. Let a 15-year-old girl walk home on her own in the dark when she was clearly drinking as well. Whatever. I don't know. They maybe had she maybe said, oh, he's fucked up and I'm fine. So
or she kept her mouth shut and you did all the talking. I think that's what happened.
That was it. I was just being a cheeky little bastard. So they take me in the back of the van, and they start driving me down towards the police station, and I'm sitting in the back of the van on my own, and they're going, oh, so yeah, the big night tonight? And I'm going, me? Nah, just having a casual walk at 8 p.m. and just being a dick, basically. So you get down there, and they go, right, what's your name? I say, Andrew, because that's actually weirdly my first name. And they go, right, Andrew, who's home tonight? We're going to phone your parents and we're going to drop you off back home. And the last thing I wanted to do was end up in my house after getting lifted with my dad. I was like, nah, just throw me in the cell. I'll go home in the morning. And they're going, trust me, you don't want to be in the cell with these fucking idiots over here. So they go, we're going to ask you one more time. What's your home phone number? We're going to call your parents. And I said, oh, it's I think it's under, and I made up a name. And he went, well, you can stop lying to us right now, or you can tell me. I was like, no, seriously, phone like Billy McGillen or something like that.
It was a taxi company.
He goes, 665-6565. That was always a taxi company. If you're ever in Musselburgh, you should give them a bell.
Shout out
to, I think it's like Honest Tune Taxis or something like that. But anyway, they go, well, we know you've been lying to us because we asked your friend what your name was and what your parents' name was, and we've already phoned your dad and he knows you're coming home. And I just went, oh.
She shafted you.
I was breaking myself. I would rather have spent the night in the cell. I mean, my dad wasn't like an angry guy, but like the idea that he'd always been quite sound, trusted me with drinking alcohol. He'd always been like, oh, go have a couple of beers. He'd even give me a few beers at times, just like be sensible. I'd rather give you what you're drinking than you just go off to find something. And I'd take what he gave me and then found something as well, But we get in the door and I'm just like walking in with my head down, and the police guys go, right, is there anything, anything more we can do? And my dad's going, no, don't worry, I've got it from here. And they walk out the door. He goes, right then, thanks now, bye now. Bye now. Closes the door and it's silent. And he turns around and he just goes, you better go. He goes, you better just go to your bed, huh? And I went, Yep, no problem. And I just ran up the stairs and went to bed. I was like shaking under my covers. I thought I was going to get like a bollocking. But he just went, you better just go to your bed. Woke up in the morning and I was just like, you know, I'm going to be grounded for months, and I had to do some extra chores and stuff like that. But they were pretty sound. And in hindsight, you know, my dad was probably like, I did the same shit.
Yeah.
Like he probably got in trouble when he was a kid around that age as well. But they kind of were like, right, have you learned your lesson? Next time you go out, you're only going to drink the beers that we gave you. And I'm like, no problem. Next time I was out, I was spin drinking vodka Red Bull again.
No, I know. I think for me, like growing up, it's like, you know, I obviously did stupid things and I had a good time, but it's more the disappointment thing. You just feel like you've let them down. I mean, of course, you get shouted at every now and then, but like, I think when it came down to something serious like that, it was more like silent treatment, or, you know, or they'll give you a look, and then that kind of got me. But
you start acting like a pure weirdo around the house. You're like, oh, can I get that empty teacup for you there, Dad?
I'm cleaning the coasters down and stuff, like doing weird shit, like
spraying the wood furniture and
a nice new varnish on you there for you.
I tell you what, Dad, I've not only done my homework, but
mowed the lawn.
I've mowed the lawn. And do you want me to hoover your bedroom? I know you did it on Saturday, but I can, you know, anything you want me to do. And he's like, just they probably got, I think. Originally, they said, right, you're grounded for a week or something like that. And after like 3 days, they were like, have you learned your lesson? I was like, yeah, I've learned my lesson. I'm really sorry. And they were like, right, off you fuck. Because I think they were getting bored of me acting like a weirdo around the house, trying to be like,
go out and make
perfect.
Go out and make some more bad decisions. But like, you know, looking back, I think that's the kind of shit that shapes us. And, you know, I mean, I'm sure there's things I do regret, but I'm very grateful for who it's made me. And I look back now and I compare myself to, kind of talking back to the kind of differences in Americans and us, is like, we've had those extra maybe like 4 years of legal drinking. And I think so, it's not even just the drinking, it's like the social settings that you're in, bars and, you know, older nightclubs or whatever it is, music festivals that maybe have an age restriction, you're kind of opened up to like a little bit of the world before. So when I first came here, I noticed people the same age of me were a little, I'm not saying immature, I would not say immature, but I just a little bit lacked a little bit of like social awareness sometimes.
Like they still have the excitement about it still being a new thing, you know? Like when, I remember, did you have a fake ID in Scotland?
Yeah.
So same, we were
still
going
got one.
we used to go to nightclubs, like full on big time, like European style, like dance music nightclubs when we were 15, 16 years old. And we didn't go that often because we couldn't afford it, because we, you know, you work for, if you do have a job when you're that age, it's like $3.50 an hour or whatever. But we would go like every few weeks up to like crazy nightclubs with adults. You know, we're 15, 16 and we're in, you know, then there's like the 18, 19-year-olds, but then there's people that are like in their 30s in these clubs. And you get so used to it that by the time you're 18, you kind of get a little bit over it and you stop going. And then by the time you're like 21, 22, you feel old to be in there because you know that there's other kids in there that are like 15, 16. So you're just like, I don't want to be partying with the 15, 16-year-olds anymore. But then you come over here, and I mean, like, if you don't have the fake ID, you can get into bars when you're 18 to 21, but they put the big
X
black cross on your skin. So like you're totally, the bartenders are like, we know that you've tried to rub that off in the bathroom, but you can't get it off for days. So
your
it's
tongue's
like
black. Just you've been licking at your tongue like a dog.
It's humiliating. But you know, so if you don't have a fake ID, you don't get to experience that until you're 21, and then they don't really have, you know, in your college towns and stuff like that, and maybe in your bigger cities, but in your college towns, they don't typically have like nightclubs that are the same as what we have. I actually kind of prefer the American kind of more sports bar. It's more kind of social. Sometimes they'll still have a DJ and there's a little dance floor area, but it's usually you get a bit more space. It's a bit less sweaty and there's like screens playing sports and stuff. I might even prefer that, to be honest, to like a nightclub where you can't hear yourself speak. And
I'm 100% the same. I think that's another massive difference that we probably should have touched upon back when we were talking about the differences, but like the bar culture and like the bar scene and socializing is so different. And that's one thing I love about living in America. Like you can just go and hang out in a bar and, you know, okay, I don't want to get bothered all the time, and I'm not saying you do get bothered all the time, but people want to talk to you. People are like, how you doing? Or the bartender, or the guy or girl, regardless of what it is, people are just kind of cool and want to hang out and talk. And that's a big difference. You can go for a pint in Scotland and no one will talk to you. Or sometimes you're sat there and you try to start a conversation. They're like, why you being a weirdo kind of thing, like, leave me alone. But that's one thing I love about it. And I've met so many friends through that.
Yeah, I love when you could be in an airport in America, and it does happen back home, but it happens more. And I guess this is where Brits become more like Americans. It happens more when you're on holiday, when you're on vacation. And so in the UK, you go to a pub, you might not get anyone speaking to you. You might just have to sit at the bar, and even the bartender will just be like, "Yep, there you go, thank you, there's your change." And you just kind of sit there, and it's kind of boring. So you just give them your change and go. But when you go across to Spain or Italy or something, and you see other UK people in the bar, all of a sudden we turn into Americans, where it's like, "Oh, what brought you here?" You start. We'll have to keep in touch when we get home and all that.
You never hear from them again.
You get an address so that you can have a pen pal for some reason, and you're like, "I'm not writing on paper. What's that all about?" But in America, it's like that all the time, which you're right. I think some people, it's probably not for everyone. It can get a bit annoying. You just want to be left alone. But
totally.
I love the bar top culture here, where it's like, if you sit at the bar top, everyone at the bar top is like part of the same group type thing. And I've really enjoyed that, because I like a good chit chat at a bar. I like to bullshit with people. It might not even be something that I even know about or I'm interested in, but if there's a baseball game, I go, "So who's playing?" "Oh, the Braves and the Padres." Cool.
1998 Braves.
The 98 Braves. I'll start putting bets on. I'll be like, "So what should I do?" And that they love that here, and that's what they're all like. So I'm the same. I love living here. I think it's. Do you think you'll ever go back?
My mother wants me to say yes, but I think right now I can't see myself going back. I mean, I've got a girlfriend here. I'm pretty settled. I've got a good income, got a good group of friends, and I've got still a lot that I want to achieve here before I would even think about it. Would I like to? The only thing for me, I feel a little bit guilty. My grandparents are getting a bit older, and I feel sometimes I get upset a little bit, just that maybe I'm missing out on some really special time. But apart from that, I feel like I'm here for a reason. What about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think, the world's been a crazy place for the last few years, and to be honest, I have preferred being here than back home for the last few years. But you never know what happens, and I think we're just quite lucky that we can always just bounce. But if like shit hits the fan and there's some kind of mental civil war or something like that, where all the guns come out, we could just go, right, we're on the next flight out of BN8, land in Edinburgh, and we're fine. But I think the opportunities over here, until America, a lot of people dislike America because they think it's like too much all the time. It's like sensory overload. But what you get with that is the best entertainment industry, the highest wages, the best opportunities in the world. And so because we're in those industries, it suits us to be here. But saying that, it would be nice to retire back in Scotland. Or I mean, one of my goals long term is to do a show over in Scotland, to do like a TV show or something over in Scotland that takes 3 months. And I would actually, weirdly, I would film it over the winter months, because the winter months in Scotland are actually quite similar to the winter months here. It's like just above freezing. It doesn't really snow that much where we're from, Scotland and Edinburgh and Glasgow. But Edinburgh, and I know that Glasgow is the same, when you go into the city centre, it is so magical at that time of year. And they don't really they don't make it as like beautiful over here during the winter. So if I could spend like November, December, January in Scotland, and then spend the rest of the year here when it's nice and warm and it's like summer for the next 9 months, I think that would be the best kind of, and I'd probably go over for a week in the summer. Like you got Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and I mean, the one thing that I guess you would miss is the football season.
I love the football. Yeah, I was watching the old Glasgow Celtic today.
Celtic.
And but I do miss home. I'm not saying I don't miss home. I miss my friends, and I've actually got a few of them coming out to visit me in July or June, July, and I can't wait for that. And I want to for them to see kind of what I'm doing and kind of get an understanding of it. But no, I'm very fortunate enough. I think I'm going home like 3 times this year. And I'm always going to be Scottish. I'm always going to want to go home and see my family, and I'm hopeful that I'm going to have a house there and maybe a house somewhere in America, or a couple of houses in America that, if I'm saying, you know what, I want to go and live here or there, I can do that for a little while. And, that would be a really cool life. And that's a real goal of mine.
Do you ever think about raising kids in America and they're going to have American accents and they're going to be like, that's it, the Scottish is gone. They're going to be like, what's up, Dad?
That's fucking weird. But I mean, my dad works with a lot of British guys or British Irish guys that have moved out here pretty early on with their kids, and I mean the dads and the mums, they keep the Scottish or Irish or English accent, but the kids have got this kind of funky accent, and I mean, I think I would find it a little bit weird, but as 2 guys that have now lived in America for a while, I feel like I will never lose my Scottish accent, but I will pronounce things a little bit differently in order to allow the American person that I'm talking to understand things a little bit. And I would always talk with a Scottish accent at home. It's like me and my girlfriend, like she's coming over for 3 weeks to Scotland, to Spain, to London for my sister's wedding and to do some travelling. And I told her when we kind of moved in together, I said, I'm going to really dial it on because I want you to understand me and I want you to understand my family and my friends when I get back home. And I think if I ever had kids and if I ever raised them here, that it would be like that kind of same thing. I'd still talk to them and I'd want them to have that kind of cool accent and a different accent, because look at the fucking opportunities it's brought you and I.
Totally. And
what about you?
I think so. I have this weird dichotomy going on where I'm like, I love the grind and I love coming from like this cool but kind of poor town now the house prices in Musselburgh are so high because it's right next to Edinburgh, and Edinburgh's such a great place to bring up a family and stuff. But I was, fortunate enough that my parents put all their savings into moving into a house in quite a nice part of Musselburgh. But by no means we had any money growing up, and I had a couple of friends that had some money growing up, and it just made me want to like hustle and grind and do something where I could like make something of myself. And I know that there's like the American dream, but I think that if I'm going to be here, it's got to be because there's opportunity. And it means that by the time I have kids, if I have any kind of success, they're never going to feel what it is like to come from somewhere where there's absolutely nothing available and you just have to make it work and you have to go find it. And it's like, you go on the journey of discovery to go get what you want or whatever. And I go through that. I think about this like once every 3 months. I'm like, if I have kids, do I want to bring them up in a gated community in Franklin, just outside Nashville, where I would be like, I'd feel super made, because I'd be like, I made it from, a 2-bedroom in Musselburgh when I was born to, a fucking mansion in Franklin. That for me would like make my life. But do I want my kids growing up on that, or should I take them back to Musselburgh? And maybe I think summers in Scotland or something like that. Just I'd love for them to know where I came from and where they are from. And I mean, neither of us have kids, so it's not something we need to think about in the near future. But
not that we know of.
I would love. Aye, is that your phone going off there? Who's that?
Baby Mama 3.
Oh God, don't, because the child's alimony payments over here are extortionate. So we'd both be broke in a week.
I know, but no, I think you're right. I think I think seeing how my parents grew up and what they gave me, I think that was a big kind of reality check of how I got to see how hard they worked, because they didn't come from anywhere near the level of where I started out, compared to where they started out. So, and I'm sure if I ever have kids, it'll be from a way different level from where I started out, as well. So, and I kind of want that as a progression in my life, to just do a little bit better. I'm not saying you got to make 10 or I don't know,
like billions. You don't have to be the next Bill Gates.
If you can, I think a big achievement for me would to be say, hey, you know, I made a little bit more than my parents did, and I can bring them out to Nashville if I live here and fly them out, or take them and I said, I'm going to fly you out to Barbados or something for a week and we're going to spend with my family and my wife and my kids. You know, that's a kind of dream of mine. But I think perspective is a big thing. Like, bring your kids back to like, okay, this is how I grew up and I fucking had to work hard. Yeah, you know, yeah, we have a cool life now, but I think that kind of grounding gives you the heart and the desire and the fire to keep yourself humble.
Yeah, I'm going to bring my kids back to Scotland one day and they're going to say, I'd like to go back to Franklin now, please. They're going to go, what's going on here? I don't understand why you even stayed as long as you did in this fucking, you know, because it is so different. You know, the being out in a gated community, and I don't live in a gated community at all, but, you know, I've got friends that do out here, and it's just like, it looks like a movie scene compared to where we come from. It's like Disneyland for adults, you know, it's like
beautiful,
gorgeous, and it's such a different lifestyle. And for not that much money compared to what it would cost you to live that lifestyle back home. So we'll see one day, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, because we've both got a lot more work to do and fun to have before kids come around.
Sure,
so
for sure.
As much as my parents probably will hate to hear that. Luckily, my sister had a kid, so they've both got a granddaughter now. So
the heat's off of Callum for a little while.
The pressure it's cooled, but it's still, you know, I've still got the Kerr name. My sister's daughter's obviously got her guy's last name, so I've still got
family
to carry
baton.
on. I cannot let it die with me. It'd be shame. Right, should we wrap it up then?
I think we should, man. That's been a really good first episode. I feel I can't wait to bring some people on and talk some more shite, talk some more scotch, and drink some more whiskey.
Yeah, sounds great, brother. Well, we'll see you next week.
Cheers, man. Thank you very much.
Cheers.